Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for April the 11th. Today, we are reading together in Leviticus chapter 3, which is going to continue looking at the divisions of the Israelites. Yesterday, we looked at the different divisions in the camp of the east side and the west side and north side and the south side. And then right in the center of everything would be the tabernacle, and then the Levites would be surrounding the tabernacle. The three sons of Levi, divided up by the families, is how they would be divided up there, right next to the tabernacle. Then outside of that would be the greater portions of the camp. But we're going to focus in now on the inner ring, the inner portion of the camp, which is going to look at the sons of Aaron, or the sons of Levi, which is kind of the bigger I guess the bigger families of Levi. Obviously, we are looking in at Aaron specifically, but remember, Aaron is 400 years past whenever Levi was alive. So the three sons of Levi now have basically their own big branches on the family tree. So we're going to see how the duties of the Levites concerning the tabernacle, how they are divided up between these three sons of Levi. Those three sons are Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Those are the three sons. We'll look at their specific duties in a little bitty detail today, and then tomorrow in chapter 4, we're going to unpack some more concerning the detail of their duties there in chapter 4 that we'll look at for tomorrow. But for today, let's read together here in Numbers chapter 3. Numbers chapter 3, beginning in verse number 1. These are the family records of Aaron and Moses at the time Yahweh spoke with Moses on Mount Sinai. These are the names of Aaron's sons: Nadab, the firstborn, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of Aaron's sons, the anointed priests who were ordained to serve as priests. But Nadab and Abihu died in Yahweh's presence when they presented unauthorized fire before Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no sons. So Eleazar and Ithamar served as priests under the direction of Aaron, their father. Yahweh spoke to Moses, "Bring the tribe of Levi near and present them to the priest Aaron to assist him. They are to perform duties for him and the entire community before the tent of meeting by attending to the service of the tabernacle. They were to take care of all the furnishings of the tent of meeting and perform duties for the Israelites by attending to the service of the tabernacle. Assign the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They have been assigned exclusively to him from the Israelites. You are to appoint Aaron and his sons to carry out their priestly responsibilities, but any unauthorized person who comes near the sanctuary is to be put to death." Yahweh spoke to Moses, "See, I have taken the Levites from the Israelites in place of every firstborn Israelite from the womb. The Levites belong to me, because every firstborn belongs to me. At the time I struck down every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I consecrated every firstborn in Israel to myself, both man and animal. They are mine. I am Yahweh." Yahweh spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, "Register the Levites by their ancestral families and their clans. You are to register every male 1 month old or more." So Moses registered them in obedience to Yahweh as he had been commanded. These were Levi's sons by name: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. These were the names of Gershon's sons by their clans: Libni and Shimei. Kohath's sons by their clans were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Merari's sons by their clans were Mali and Mushai. These were the Levite clans by their ancestral families. The Libnite clan and the Shemite clan came from Gershon. These were Gershonite clans. Those registered, counting every male 1 month old or more, numbered 7,500 or 7,500. The Gershonite clans camped behind the tabernacle on the west side, and the leader of the Gershonite clans were Eliasaph, son of Lael. The Gershonites duties at the tent of meeting involved the tabernacle, the tent, its covering, and the screen for the entrance to the tent of meeting, the hangings of the courtyard, the screen for the entrance to the courtyard that surrounds the tabernacle, and the altar and the tent ropes, all the work related to these. The Amramite clan, the Izharite clan, and the Hebronite clan, and the Uzzielite clan came from Kohath. These were the Kohathites. Counting every male 1 month old or more, there were 8,600 responsible for the duties of the sanctuary. The clans of the Kohathites camped on the south side of the tabernacle, and the leader of the families of the Kohathites clans were Elizaphan, son of Uzziel. Their duties involved the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the sanctuary utensils that were used with these, and the screen, and all the work related to them. The chief of the Levite leaders was Eleazar, son of Aaron. The priest, he had oversight of those responsible for the duties of the sanctuary. The Malite clans and the Mushite clans came from Merari. These were the Merarite clans. Those registered, counting every male 1 month old or more, numbered 6,200. The leader of the families of the Merarite clans was Zuriel, son of Abihail. They camped on the north side of the tabernacle. The assigned duties of Merari's descendants involved the tabernacle supports, crossbars, pillars, bases, all its equipment, and the work related to these, in addition to the posts of the surrounding courtyard with their bases, tent pegs, and ropes. Moses, Aaron, and his sons, who performed the duties of the sanctuary as a service on behalf of the Israelites, camped in front of the tabernacle on the east, in front of the tent of meeting toward the sunrise. Any unauthorized person who came near it was to be put to death. The total number of all the Levite males 1 month old or more that Moses and Aaron registered by their clans at Yahweh's command was 22,000. Yahweh told Moses register every firstborn male of the Israelites 1 month old or more and list their names. You are to take the Levites for me, I am Yahweh, in place of every firstborn among the Israelites, and the Levites' cattle in place of every firstborn among the Israelites' cattle. So Moses registered every firstborn among the Israelites as Yahweh commanded him. The total number of firstborn males 1 month old or more listed by name was 22,273. Yahweh spoke to Moses again, take the Levites in place of every firstborn among the Israelites, and the Levites' cattle in place of their cattle. The Levites belong to me, I am Yahweh. As the redemption price for the 273 firstborn Israelites who outnumbered the Levites, collect 5 shekels for each person, according to the standard sanctuary shekel, 20 gerahs to the shekel. Give the silver to Aaron and his sons as the redemption price for those who are in excess among the Israelites. So Moses collected the redemption amount from those in excess of the ones redeemed by the Levites. He collected the silver from the firstborn Israelites, 1,365 shekels measured by the standard sanctuary shekel. He gave the redemption silver to Aaron and his sons in obedience to Yahweh, just as Yahweh commanded Moses. And that is Numbers chapter 3. Numbers chapter 3. All right, we're focusing now specifically on the Levites. Once again, remember the Levites in chapter 3 they're not mentioned, I should say, going back to chapter 2, they're not counted among the rest of the tribes of Israel, the rest of the other 12 tribes. Remember those 12 tribes being Reuben, Simeon, Gad, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, not Joseph, but his 2 sons, Ephraim, Manasseh, Benjamin, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. So of the original 12 sons of Jacob, there would have been Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan. I'm going to try to sing the song in my head. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. There we go. I think I got it right. There. And I didn't actually sing it. I just try to remember. Out of those 12, remember that Levi and Joseph were not counted among at least having tribes that were going to take up residence, have space in Canaan. There's no Levi because they're serving as a priest. We're going to focus on them in a second. So that leaves one spot. There's no Joseph because two of his sons are going to take his place and Levi's place, Ephraim and Manasseh. So in chapter 2 and chapter 1 and chapter 2, as they're doing this census and counting up the military men, Levi's not included in that. Why? Well, because they were focusing specifically on being the priest of the people. They were going to be the spiritual servants of Israel. The others would serve militarily when that was necessary, but the Levites would serve as the spiritual leaders of the people. So for them, again, I'll bring up that if I can find it real fast, bring up that chart again, that graphic that showed the organization of the people around the tabernacle. Here we go. Again, I apologize for it being a bit blurry and not looking too great. The resolution's bad because I'm stretching out a good bit. But here is the picture. You have here in the middle the tabernacle, where you see the presence of Yahweh being illustrated here with this cloud of smoke and the glory coming from it. So we have the tabernacle here. On this side, the east side, which is where the entrance to the tabernacle complex is going to be Moses and Aaron and Eleazar and Ithamar. On the south side over here, the south side is going to be Kohath. On the west side is going to be Gershon, and then on the north side is going to be Merari, and then surrounding them, again, first on the east side, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. On the south side, Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. On the west side, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. And then on the north side, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. Remember, as they would move out, they would begin to pick up these things. We're going to talk about exactly who is going to be responsible for what a little bit today and expand on that tomorrow. But as they're going to pack out, Kohath would take care of, and his family would take care of their duties. Gershon would take care of their duties. Merari would take care of their duties. They would begin to march out, and then Judah and Issachar, Zebulun would follow, and Reuben, Simeon, Gad would follow, and then Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin would follow, and then Dan, Asher, and Naphtali would follow as well. So that's what we have. This just tells us exactly who these specific individuals were. You are to appoint, verse number 10, you are to appoint Aaron and his sons to carry out their priestly responsibilities, but any unauthorized person who comes into the sanctuary is to be put to death, meaning these are the specifically chosen individuals that God wants to take care of his special place, the temple. Now, you might remember, if I can find it very, very quickly, you might remember, here we go, how we talked about a couple weeks ago, whenever we talked about the lesson of how we as Christians are the priesthood. There were a couple of words that were used to describe what the priesthood did. Shamar is one, and Avar or Avad would be another one. So there's another word that is used to describe what is seen a lot here in chapter 3. And here in chapter 3, it is the word mizmeret. That refers to this portion right here, the priestly responsibilities, them taking care of the tabernacle. Because again, there is this warning here, and this really necessary component of the sanctuary's just whole existence is that not just anybody could go in the sanctuary, not just anybody can go into the holy place, not just anybody can go into the most holy place. So they were basically guarding, priests were in a sense guarding God's sacred space, not allowing anyone unauthorized or unclean or unworthy, not allowing them to come into his presence. That was a big component of the priestly responsibilities, them taking care of that. We're going to come back to the firstborn redemption in just a moment. But first we go Gershon and his family. They're going to take care mostly of the coverings on the outside of the temple. Anything that was really not hard, it seems, that was made of cloth that could be folded, it seems to be what they focused on a lot. For Kohath, they were going to focus on the furnishings inside of the tabernacle, the ark, the table, the lampstands, altars, things of that nature. And then Merari, his family was going to focus on the hard stuff, the supports, the crossbars, the pillars, the bases, all of that. Again, we will expand upon that a little bit tomorrow in chapter 4. are going to talk more specifically about the duties of the Kohathites and the Gershonites and the Merarites. But what we're going to finish with, though, is this whole idea about the redemption of the firstborn. If I'm understanding this correctly, what is being discussed here is something that goes back to the Exodus, where Yahweh makes claim to the firstborn, and this is rooted in the Passover event where God demanded the firstborn, and he took the lives of the firstborn of the Egyptians, but the people had the opportunity to offer the lamb instead of their firstborn to Yahweh. So they offered the lamb, and the firstborn was spared. But God still demanded for the firstborn to be his, although they could be redeemed. It seems as if, and please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section to maybe give me some correction if I'm wrong here, but it seems to be that the way that Yahweh took the firstborn and they belong to him, he redeemed them basically by the Levites. That instead of the Levite, or instead of the whole of Israel, each of the families or family clans, there's disagreement on exactly what this number is. This number, because the two numbers we're working with here. Number one, we're looking at just the Levites, all the males, 1 year and older, okay, or excuse me, 1 month and older, comes to 22,000. But then we're looking at the rest of Israel, and we're looking at just the firstborn males of Israel, 1 month older, and there being 22,273. Those might seem almost lopsided. How could there be that many? But remember, we're looking at all the males from Levi and just the firstborn males of Israel. Although again, that 22,273 number is curious, because people wonder again, is this each individual family? So meaning, would this be, for example, in my family, let's just imagine that I have a son, and Gabriel, of course, and then imagine Mia and Zach have a son. Would that be then 3 sons for each of our individual families, and then me, myself, under my dad? Or would it be under my dad alone, me being the firstborn? So do you see how that could be counted differently? So it could be counted for myself and 4 sons, and 3 sons, of a son of mine, a son of Alex's, a son of Mia's, or would it just be myself being the one counted in that count? There's just, it's hard to know exactly what is the count here, what is to be counted, what is the designation. We know the outcome. The outcome is 22,273. So because there's 22,273 firstborn males, 1 month old or more, listed by name, and because there are 22,000 Levite males, all males, 1 month older, and 1 month old and older, then there's a difference of 273 that have not been redeemed by a Levite male. Because remember, the Levite males are going to be used in the service of Yahweh as priests. So they are redeeming the firstborn and the rest of Israel in this manner. They are, instead of being actual sacrifices to Yahweh, in the idea that we're thinking of burnt offerings and stuff, they are going to give themselves as living sacrifices to Yahweh. They are redeeming the firstborn of the rest of Israel, is the way I believe this is be understood. Again, please feel free to leave a comment if you think I'm misunderstanding that. But again, there's this difference of 273. So how are they redeemed? Well, they are redeemed by 5 shekels, by 5 shekels according to the standard sanctuary shekel, 20 gerahs to a shekel. So that ends up coming to 1,365 shekels. That would be given to Aaron. Moses collected the silver from the firstborn Israelites, that number, and he gave the redemption silver to Aaron and his sons in obedience to Yahweh, just as Yahweh commanded Moses. So here within this chapter, then we see the specific clans, the big ancestral families of Levi. Again, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, and we see where they're positioned within the camp. We're seeing a little explanation of their duties, and we're seeing the role that all the Levites play in the redemption of the firstborn. So that's a good synopsis of what we see here in Numbers chapter 3. And again, we just see this substitutionary element play out once again within the story of Israel and the way that things worked out for them. We think about that mostly in terms of sacrifices, how the role that element played in the sacrifices under the law and with Yahweh and the people in various forms. If you have any other questions or comments here about chapter 3, please feel free to leave those in the comment section below. And I hope that you will have a great rest of your Tuesday as well. And we'll be back at it again, reading tomorrow again, expanding upon the duties of these three families. And we'll also read about a census of the Levites at the latter half of chapter 4 tomorrow as well. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. And I'd love to have a discussion with you about those things. Take care and God bless.